Hey guys, Dazanar here. It's a very lovely cloudy day here in Florida. It just seems like wherever you look around you, there's rain. There's a lot of rain there. There's rain over towards this way too. This rained over us earlier. It's just really pretty. Really gorgeous day. Today, I wanted to discuss the mushroom experience. So I hope you guys don't mind. I'm gonna try and break this into two different videos. And in this video, I'm gonna focus on not the experience itself, but the preparation going into the experience. And then in the next video, I'm gonna break down what the levels of the experiences are based on like dose and what you can expect to possibly experience in those ranges. And to keep myself on track, since I'm scatterbrained, I have a little script on my phone, so I do hope you don't mind the little cuts that I make as I read my script and like, okay, that's what I wanted to say. Anyways, so and a disclaimer, I don't want anyone, you know, doing illegal things. You know, that's not what I'm recommending. If you need certain alternative medicines or ideas in your life, you know, you should really think about the legality of that in your area and if it's worth it to you to explore those options. So you've decided to take mushrooms and you woke up today. Who knows what time you woke up? I don't know what time you wake up. I wake up late because I'm a bum. But who knows what time you woke up? You're probably feeling a little anxious that today's the day. You're a little excited. Well, the first thing you can do is make sure that you eat a balanced meal, at least I recommend at least 3 hours prior to your experience so that it has plenty of time to start digesting in your stomach. And you generally, you know, we understand that a low sugar diet is best, and that's what I suggest that you take to start this off. Maybe make sure you get all your nutrients from vegetables and maybe a few low sugar fruits if possible, but make sure to last through the experience you have lots of protein and fats in your diet so that you're not hungry and trying to disturb your experience with like desires of food. That's not bad, but like it can throw you off, right? Yeah, I gotta transition those cuts a little better. So you've eaten, right? Let's consider that you've eaten and now you're anxious, right? Because you still know you got a experience ahead of you and you have to deal with that. One of the things that I like to do is just try and calm myself down at this point. In a previous video I talked about meditating during the experience. I also like to try and meditate before the experience to really calm the mind down and practice those meditative techniques that are going to be really important for when you go deeper into the experience based on what dose range you decided to take. If you're going on a really deep in there, it's really helpful to understand the basic principles of meditation and being able to allow thoughts to come into you and to recognize those thoughts but not attach to them and like spiral around them, and to let those thoughts go and have another thought come. And like the more control you have over that, is there's just this empty space with no thoughts eventually, except for small little waves of thoughts that can go. It's kind of like that. So in this time that you have beforehand, try not hyping yourself up with too much content online. Just try relaxing, maybe go outside, stretch, yoga, prayer, meditation, whichever is your preferred path. They're very similar, but that would be your next goal in preparation for your experience. So I was talking a little bit about anxiety, and I'm a very anxious person, but what you can kind of do to help alleviate that, aside from the meditation, is distracting yourself. But try not to distract yourself with too much online content, like I said. Maybe try cleaning up your surroundings, especially if you're a cluttered person like me. That's a great way to distract yourself until the time that you're going to be taking these events. You know, if you have a cleaner space, a cleaner setting, these things will they won't bubble up during your experience. I've had experiences when I've been younger, when I was much more cluttered, where I don't know how else to say it. The mushrooms literally were like, bro, you're very cluttered. You need to organize it up a bit more. And I was like, what? Who just said this to me? Literally like 19 years old, talking to myself as I went out to my car because the mushrooms started talking to me. Like, so yeah, declutter up your space, and that can help distract you and calm down the anxiety that you might be facing building up to the experience. Because at this point, it's all about calming yourself down, because you are about to be doing this really profound, really, it could be mind-blowing experience. It could be traumatic, right? There's always the, you can have a bad trip. We can all have a bad trip, a bad experience with our inner thoughts or the hallucinations that we're experiencing. And so it's good to calm yourself down and to not be taking these if you have huge trauma that's just recently happened, like a dog died, or your girlfriend broke up with you, or there was a mass shooting nearby and that's personally like if there's really sharp recent trauma in your life, you're not gonna want to be taking powerful substances like mushrooms or LSD or things like that, in my opinion. That would be much better for you to take like MDMA with therapy, but I am not recommending anything like that. Yeah. All right, 2 more steps in preparation. Well, you should have done this one by now. You should make sure that you're with friends that you trust, family, loved ones, people that you trust. This is what I highly recommend. You can do it with strangers. You can do anything with strangers. I just feel like that leaves for a more chaotic opening and a higher possibility to a bad trip if someone doesn't necessarily understand what you've been through, or you're having doubts about who that person is. So I highly recommend it's people that you can trust to a high degree, because they're people you're usually more willing to show your vulnerable side to. If you're not willing to ever show your vulnerable side to people, you probably might need to be doing some other therapies that I, again, don't want to get in trouble, so I don't recommend, but like MDMA therapy, which they're doing studies on, and it's really helpful with opening up and PTSD and stuff like that. But as for the mushroom experience, people you are trusting, you can even do it alone. Terrence McKenna, who is a very famous mushroom enthusiast and ayahuasca enthusiast from the 80s and 90s, he recommended you take 5 grams, I believe, 3.5 or 5 grams alone in a room with lights off, maybe some music playing. I can't recommend this to people because it's quite powerful, right? And not everyone's ready for that kind of like realization. So yeah, being with people you trust, or people you're not, somewhere you're not going to embarrass your ego when you come back. And lastly, I'll just get into this next part, is the different types of techniques that you can do to take the mushrooms. So how do you take mushrooms? Well, you can't smoke mushrooms. I've heard this multiple times, like people ask me if they can smoke mushrooms. I've heard people tell me they've smoked mushrooms. And okay, I will be disclaimer, I don't know if you can't smoke all mushrooms. I know the mushrooms here in like the southeast of Florida that I am privy to, you cannot smoke those. Don't smoke those. It's not. But what can you do? So the basic technique would kind of be, if you have a dry supply, would be to just take your cap, whatever you have, scrunch it up into a little ball, and get some chocolate, low sugar chocolate, whatever your thing is. I recommend milk chocolate, dark chocolate, and kind of make little sandwich with it. And that's easier to go down and to handle, especially if you're not a big dried mushroom fan. The other most basic option is if you have a fresh supply. This will be obviously way more potent generally. You just wash it off and eat it. And I've never done this myself because I don't like the taste of mushrooms, and When you're out there, it's kind of dangerous to like just start popping off, if you ask me. Like, there's a lot of dangers in the field, as I've tried to educate you guys on. Like, safety comes first in everything in life. I think, you know, our life is important. So yeah, the two just basic options is scrunched up, swallow it with some chocolate, or just eat it if it's fresh. Then you have some other options. I've heard people have turned it into smoothies with great success. You just chop it up, grind it up, put that grind powder in your smoothie, bada boom, bada bing, you're done. I know people that have made pizza. They make the pizza first because heat will destroy the active ingredients that have beneficial effects and psychedelic effects. So you don't heat the mushrooms with the pizza. You heat the pizza and then you put the mushrooms on afterwards. And if you want a little heat, you could put them in there for like half a minute and then take them out. So I've heard people do that. I've heard people do peanut butter jelly sandwiches. You know, whatever they can to get them down. A more common technique, though, is making tea out of it. The problem is most people, maybe not most people, I'd say over half people will mess this up, and because they don't know. And the only people that aren't messing it up are people that have done their homework. You can really destroy your material, your fungi material, because it's just water soluble. That means you can just put your mushroom in water, shake it up, and let it sit there for a little bit, let it steep, and the psilocin will transfer into the water because it's water soluble. So you don't need to heat it up. Heating it up speeds up that process, I believe. So if you just get your water, not to a boil, warm or hot, barely steaming, not hot to touch really, you know, you can kind of generally put your hand in there and steep it like that. That's how you would get your substance into the water, your medicine, your compound, your drug, whatever someone wants to label it, right? That's how you would get it into water, and from there you can add tea to it, whatever tea you want, or this is what me and the homies did back when we were young. We made Kool-Aid. It's super sugary, so I don't necessarily recommend that anymore, but we made Kool-Aid with it, like a blue electric Kool-Aid, just like back in the days. So you can make Kool-Aid with that water afterwards too. You just strain out your stuff, the product afterwards, because it's water soluble, so all that stuff went into the water. It's in the water now, and you can compost it, do whatever you want with that material now. Back as teens and young 20s, we used to trick ourselves into thinking that we had to eat that stuff, there was still something in there. But back then, the internet was just like in its infantile stages, and we had no idea of the education. So yeah, there is one more technique, all right, one more technique. And this is the strongest technique that I know of when it comes to taking mushrooms. And this is, you take your mushroom product and you grind it up with a pestle and mortar. Just grind it up, not grind, I'm sorry, not that. Grind it up with a pestle and mortar, and then get a little cup and get some lemon juice, some high concentrate lemon juice, and put that in in your mixture. Make a little slurry with it, and down the hatch with the slurry. Anecdotal evidence says that it hits you way faster, about as fast as taking the tea, and something with the citric acid, anecdotal evidence says that it makes it hit harder for most people, is what they say. I've actually never done this technique. I've done all the other ones. Well, I've never made pizza or a PBJ, but I've done some other ones. But I know friends that have done the lemon tech in front of me, and they did start feeling it before me and started coming down before me too. So that is basic preparation for the mushroom experience. You just need to decide how you're going to take it and kind of not to a T. You never have to a T anything, in my opinion, but you can listen to the instructions I gave and follow those, or find other people's advice online, and that can lead you into your experience. So in the next video, I'm definitely going to talk about all the different levels of the experience and what you can expect, because I've done them all. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what you can kind of expect. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all kinds of fun shenanigans on this channel in the future. You know it. I hope you guys like the views, right? Look at the I love clouds. I love clouds. All right, take care. Be right back, actually.